This looks a little bit shallower maybe. I'd had a bit on it actually.
In part 2 of the T7 World Raid suspension upgrade via the Victorian High Country, I take the long way around on the return leg via Woods Point, Lacola, Butcher Country, King Billy, Lake Cobbler and back home. I broke the trip into 2 days camping on the Caledonia River. I got to throw a line in to chase some trout.
Yes! Yeah!
And I thoroughly tested the Hog's new suspension on some tough high country tracks.
Oh, this has been flogged out down here.
And finally, you'll hear my thoughts on the current suspension upgrades and the dilemma with the bent chopsticks on the front. The fork's obviously not up to the task. It's a little bit disappointing, honestly. I'm going to have to eat a big serve of KDM and White Power's humble pie. Strap in and come along for the journey.
So just having a bit of a play with the HEMA Maps app. This section in here, you can see where that was yesterday. This entire section there, that's where I got stuck on that hill, and all of that there was like wet as, like super greasy. And I came down some hills through there that was super greasy. That if I can avoid that, that's what I'm going to try and do. Page's track, so this is going to take us up to where we were yesterday on the boundary track, so we're going to cut out all of that wetness. Should be a nice little fire trail ridge climb, I'm hoping, and the first test of this suspension, the heavy springs. Let's go.
Page's track was a fun one, and I can say straight off the bat the suspension was night and day better. Instantly could feel it was just up in the stroke a lot higher and felt a lot closer to what a dirt bike should feel like when riding it off-road. We continued our way along here, did a little bit of backtracking on boundary track that we rode down yesterday, continued across the top of Cornhill and then at Frenchmans Gap. Shot down Old Coach Road, made our way onto Weber Spur and Champion Spur, heading across to Lacola.
Really happy with this suspension, I must say. The fork isn't perfect, but God, it's so much better. Like, it's really not that bad. More than livable. The shock's excellent. Just feels like a bike should now. Sits up in the stroke, don't have to worry about it blowing through. I'll be honest, I am still being a little bit wary on those washouts just because Stel told me the fork legs are bent, and I obviously don't want to exacerbate that too much more, so I am still just dialing it back a little bit.
As this was still pretty much my first long distance effort on the Hog, I wasn't entirely sure what fuel economy figures it would return, and it had returned some pretty poor ones on other rides where it was, I guess, a little bit more sort of stop-starty, hard gas, hard braking, tighter terrain. What I did find on this ride is with the more of the ridge riding stuff where you can maintain speed without being as aggressive on the throttle on some of those ridges, I could have pushed the fuel economy out to at least 400 Ks on this trip. However, I didn't really know that at this time, so I wanted to make sure I got into Lacola just to top up with fuel so it wasn't something that I had to worry about on the return leg home.
I was going to drop down into Woods Point just for memory's sake and get a photo, but unfortunately it's just not going to happen today if I want to make it to Lacola for fuel. Well, I'm going to have to save that for another day. Another excuse to get out on a big mission on the hog. We're on the upper reaches of the Goulburn here, so probably going to get wet feet here. I'm okay with wet feet as long as I don't get a wet ass. Doesn't look too bad. We're just going to definitely got wet feet, but oh no, someone spun that sign around, eh? That is Champion Spur. Playing funny buggers on me. Righto, let's go, big dog. Select second. Ah, easy money. Can when it's dry, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but like within reason, there's not that much that'll stop you when it's dry on these things, I reckon. Like obviously something that's been completely chopped out by Forbies, you're going to struggle, but when it's dry, the weight helps with the traction, obviously. When it's wet, not good. Not good. Easy money, that one. Like I said, I do have a memory. This is CS1 track and it goes on to N15, and I've just got this memory of driving around up here in our patrols one weekend and going down a track with, I'm sure it was those names, and you got to the bottom and it was like you had to actually drive up the river for like half a kilometre to get out. It was like full on. Yeah, right. I'm not really liking the look of this, to be honest.
After yesterday's adventures and struggling on that hill, I was a little bit unsure about going down something I wasn't 100% confident I could get back to the top of. So I made the call to spin it back. I shot down Champion Spur, jumped onto Selwyn Road, and then straight down onto South Road, which was a much more direct route to get me to Lacola as quickly as I possibly could.
Yeah, look. What do we got here? South Road. So I have done a recalculation and figured out this South Road is going to be even quicker, and it takes us straight onto the Lacola Road. I've got 45 minutes to get there, so I'm just going to let the T7 do T7 things and just fucking eat up this open road. It's funny, hey, on the bitumen here, like it has been spitting rain. I'm like shitting myself on this bitumen with a little bit of water on it. That like dirt where you can feel your tyres move and controlled slide, I'm like all day with that, completely fine. This, like I don't think there's any controlled slide on wet bitumen. If it lets go, it's fucking, you're down. That frightens me. So I just like to engage grandma mode when we get on the bitchy if there's any water in the mix. Careful cobber. Lacola. Here we are. Premium 95. Whew. The good stuff.
We got the hog topped up with fuel, kept on the move out the Tambareetha Road, over the top of Tambareetha Spur, and dropped down Dingo Hill into the Caledonia River, where we would find a camp spot for the night to hunt some trout.
The World Raid has this neat little rally mode trip meter, which is cool. So it's got the twin trip meters, so that's our total from when I left home yesterday, and I just zero that bottom one whenever I fill up. So it's pretty cool. Works well. The mighty Dingo Hill track. This is us. We're going to drop down here, and then we've got to get through there and get onto butcher country. There's about 5 or 6 river crossings, I think, so we'll see what the river's looking like when we get down there. But it's, what's the time? 3, it's 4 o'clock, that's an hour out, so I reckon by the time we get down in there, it's going to be a good time to set up camp and chill, try and catch a trout. It's starting to drop in now. This last little bit. It's definitely a lot better coming downhill with these stiffer springs in the fork. That was, like I mentioned in the last video, that was where it felt super sketchy. See, this has been wet, but luckily it's dried out now. But yeah, it's a lot better coming down hills now. Feel like you got some hold up there for the big rig. Like I said, it is a lot of bike. It's probably pushing 250 kilos with the luggage on the back and full tanks, which we've got now, so it's a fair bit of weight for a couple little chopsticks on the front. Have a look at that. But yeah, this is going to drop us in on the river, and we'll see what the river crossings look like and find ourselves a nice little spot. Hopefully there's some easy to fetch firewood. You can get a good fire cracking and camp up. Yeah, this red stuff, like red with shale rock, it's like quite a bit different to a lot of other parts, which is cool. Definitely different to Yackandandah, that's for sure. That's what's cool about the Vic High Country. You get so many kind of different types of terrain. It's got a bit on it, eh? I think the hog would get back up this, no dramas, but this has been flogged out down here. Nothing the mighty hog can't handle though, boys. Just eats it up. only thing coming down those hills is you just got to be careful the back doesn't try and overtake the front. The front brake's like so strong on these things, you've got to I'm like 5% on that front brake right now. If you go like 20%, you're going over the hangers on these things. It's like so powerful compared to a normal dirt bike. So like you got to be a little bit careful on these hills, just to not overdo the front brake. That must be a little creek, not the actual Caledonia River, I don't reckon. This one looks okay, we'll just cruise through. Nice wet boots. That looks a little bit deeper, eh? Easy money. Alright guys, we made it. The hog has done an outstanding job, but check this out. Split load of firewood. I put that out into the ether net. But guys, look at this. Have a look at that. That is postcard stuff.
This is my first time ever camping off the back of the hog, so we got straight into setting up camp, setting up the trout rod, which I just bought especially for this trip. Have not fished for close to 10 years. We got that set up and got into the river, threw a line in.
First cast.
Tried to catch some trout. We had a couple of solid hits and hookups, but did not actually land a trout. Unfortunately, yes. The water looked freaking amazing.
Oh, he spat it.
However, we got back to camp, cooked up a good little dinner and got into bed to get a good night's sleep before getting up the next morning and doing it all again.
We're on. So we got a bit of couscous mix for dinner. Just add a bit of hot water to that, let it soak for like 5 minutes, and it's done. And we're just gonna dump a can of salmon and olive oil in that. That's gonna give us about 700 calories, 35 grams of protein. So it's a decent meal.
Back up in the morning, we got the fire cracking to warm those wet boots up. We got the essentials in with some electrolytes, water, and of course a nice strong coffee. Banged down some brekkie because we were in for a cracker straight out of camp this morning.
There's the campsite. She was a good one, I tell ya. Definitely go back there again. Had a flick with the trout rod this morning, nothing. Anyway, it's about the thrill, the chase, not necessarily the catch. pretty straightforward. Oh, we haven't got the feet up for that one. You little beauty. Oh, have not turned your ABS off, Ben. The old ABS trick. Getting good at doing this now though, I must say. Uh-oh. Oh, we definitely got wet feet then. There we go. This is us. What do we got here? I reckon this looks a little bit shallower maybe. That had a bit on it actually. That was actually over the top of my boots. Filled them to the brim. Well, we've hit a false neutral. Hopefully that's the last of them. Fuck! My God! Oh. Well, there's a first for everything. Just copped the rally tower to the face. Did not think that was going to be as sharp as it was. Ow! Anyway, this is the truck we're meant to take. That was a rookie move on my part. I saw the track intersection and I took my eyes off, dropped my eyes to look at this map, and then I looked up at the last second and that hole was there. I'm like, oh, that'll be right, I'll just hit it. Like, far out. Copped one. Like a fucking left hook from Mike Tyson. Anyway, onward. This is going to be a fair climb out of here, I'm fairly certain. So, we'll see what it's like. Nothing the hog can't handle, but I'm sure if it's anything like that other side yesterday, it had a bit on it coming down, so here we go, we're straight into it. Easy money. The old 606 on the back is doing a good job. It is actually getting pretty worn now. It's got about 2,000 Ks on it. Got to keep that momentum up. Loose, this shale stuff, so same deal, you lose that momentum, you got to start searching for traction. So the key is keep that momentum. If you can hold second gear and a bit of speed is ideal. I reckon that's the worst of it now, eh? Not much of a warm-up today, straight into the good stuff. So we're up on the ridge now. This ridge, I fairly certain we follow that ridge line around there on the Butcher Country track.
All of the action for day 3 was in the first 20 minutes from camp. Once we got onto Butcher Country track, we had long ridge runs with epic tracks and epic views. We pressed on over the Howard High Plains Road, King Billy track, Bluff track, past some iconic high country huts, then snuck around the back of Mount Buller.
It's Mount Buller there. You can see the village. Lake Cobbler track. We're on.
Over to Lake Cobbler, Lake Buffalo and home. Apart from a flat tyre very close to home, the hog performed flawlessly again. Righto, we got it done. I just realised I wasn't even in the shot when I changed this tyre filming it. So anyway, it's done. The Bluetooth compressor, got it up to 28. We've got a 21 inch tube in there. So we're good to go. We'll throw this back in and happy days, we'll be on our way. Alright guys, we've made it home as you can see. Haven't even washed the beast yet. I wanted to give you guys quick feedback on the suspension upgrades that we've done so far. So Stel put the rear spring and the K-Tech piston in the shock and revalved that. So the internals have all been upgraded in that shock. So I'm super happy with that shock. The forks, we obviously got the distressing news at Stel's that the fork legs are bent. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. So we didn't worry. I was going to put the K-Tech pistons in the fork and revalve the fork and do the whole box and dice on the forks. Once we discovered that they were bent, I made the call myself. I'm like, well, there's not much point putting that extra money into the fork with the piston and revalving. Let's just put the heavier springs in there for now. We just left the rest, put some fresh oil in there, serviced them, and left the fork. So that fork is completely stock except for the heavier spring. So just that alone has absolutely transformed the bike. Like, it's gone from here to here. It's like night and day better. Is the fork perfect? No, it's not quite perfect, but it is, like I said, it's night and day compared to where it was. And I'm quite confident, like I said, the fork internals are still standard, and if you've seen the pistons in these things standard, you know what I mean. Like, there's not much there. So I'm confident that with those K-Tech pistons that we were going to put in, and with Stel revalving them, that we could even bring that fork up another 20% to get it where it needs to be. I'm not going to go down that route though, because like I said, we found out that the fork legs are bent. The fork's obviously not up to the task. It's a little bit disappointing, honestly. I'm gonna have to eat a big serve of KDM and White Power's humble pie because I have been quite vocal over the years of paying out my buddies, my mates that ride KDMs, that buy a new KDM, like a dirt bike. I'm not talking about their adventure bikes. Like, buy a KDM dirt bike and then they go and drop 10 grand on cone valves and a track shock on a bike where they've already spent 18, 19 grand on an EXE. That's exactly what I'm gonna have to do now. I spent 20 grand on this thing and I'm gonna have to go and drop another 5 grand, give or take, to improve these forks. Now, like I said, the fork now with the springs is actually really good, and if they weren't bent, if the bent fork thing was not a thing, I would not be changing them. I would not be putting the 48mm forks. I'd be more than happy to just put the K-Tech pistons in there, revalve that fork, and it'd be pretty bloody good. It'd be where I need it to be for what I want to do. I'm not racing the bike. I just want it to be able to hold up when I hit something at speed in the high country, whether that be a washout, a rock or a log or something, a G out that you don't see, that you don't pick up, and you hit it at high speed. You just want to know that the bike's going to hold up and it's not going to do anything silly. So I think you can get that fork to do that, no worries. And if you've got one of these, I'd highly recommend doing the spring upgrade for sure at a bare minimum. However, obviously if the forks are bent, then that's not good. So did I want to do it? No, but I'm going to have to do it. And look, let's face it, with a 48mm closed cartridge fork in there, it's going to be epic. So yeah, I'm kind of sad, but I'm not sad. It's kind of forced me. I was like, honestly, I just didn't want to drop that coin. And I thought, like, if I can get these close enough, that'll just do me for a couple of years. I can get through a couple of years of riding probably with that standard fork, and then later on down the track I'll drop some coin and do the 48mm. So I'm just sort of spreading that cost out over a longer period of time. I'm just going to have to do it a little bit sooner now. It will be epic. I'll keep you posted on that. There will be a part 3 of this series coming up. It won't be for a few weeks at least, or a month or two. We're sourcing parts at the moment, but as soon as I get them in there and I get it fitted up, I'll be dropping another episode for sure. So I would just like to say thank you to everyone that's been watching the videos and subscribing, commenting. It's awesome. I'm new to this. Like, I've only had this bike for a couple of months and the whole vlogging thing is new to me. So these 2 episodes, I was pretty pressed with time to get like the distance I had to cover on these days. So I didn't get as much B-roll as I would have liked, just simply because I was like punching out some pretty big days and had some time constraints. So I'll do better with that. I'm purchasing a drone soon, so that'll be cool to get some good B-roll. And I've got plenty more of these trips planned, some fishing adventures and some gnarly tracks to try and get through on this thing. So yeah, there'll be plenty of other episodes coming. So thank you for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode.